So I think the 2K random rec experience can be improved so much just by 2K fixing matchmaking and making sure teams are evenly matched. So here I am just looking for a great match in random rec, trying to get the sauce off. However, immediately into the lineup screen, I get locked into matchmaking, and you know what that means. Some nonsense is about to go down. And was that dude really averaging 129 points? That's gonna be a different video for a different day, but today what I want to talk about is how good random rec can be if you are matched up with equally skilled players, both as your teammates and as your opponents. And this random rec game is one of the best random rec games I've ever experienced. It went down the wire, you don't want to miss this. So ignore the color of the plates, ignore the stats for a while, take a look up top. What you're seeing is that it's evenly matched from a teammate grade basis. There's also some parity in terms of the plate colors and attributes either way. So this game is what I would say is an evenly matched game on both sides. I'm matching up against a 6'6" point guard that's got 92 3 ball, 92 mid-range, 93 ball handle, and 91 steal. So a two-way creator with some insane shot creation, which you will see later on. Both teams also have great rebounders and great shooters and decent lockdowns in at least two positions. So what you're seeing right here is just me trying to establish a flow of the game, creating for my teammates, and at the same time being a great teammate by helping out on defense right there. He missed a bad shot, so we just counter with a fast break midi. And this is how you know you're playing against a skilled player, not just in terms of the sticks, he's doing the L2 cancel stuff, but you saw my earlier defensive coverage, right, where I overhelped when the lock was beat. Basically, I did the same coverage, he read it really well and passed to the corner for an easy 3. That lets you know what kind of player you're dealing against. Hey, but you know what? He's got to deal with me on the offensive side of the floor as well. Great screen here, poor read by the help defense, easy wide open 3-point shot. So when playing with an inside center, it's going to be unavoidable. They're going to want to set screens and dive to the basket. You want to keep them engaged, you want to keep them involved. Make sure you pass them the ball every now and then. And this guy right here, I've actually played with him a few times before. He's a great shooter and uses that Jamal Murray combo really well. So one thing you'll notice from our lockdown is that even though he has a tendency to overreact at times, he's really great at navigating screens and recovering if he gets sucked into the screen. Now I just want to make it clear, I wasn't ducking any smoke. It was the lockdown who told me on comms to basically switch onto the small forward and he would take the point guard. And in that situation, yeah, I'm not a man with too much pride in terms of knowing matchups and recognizing deficiencies. If he wants to take on what he deems as the best player of the opposing team and he has a build that is literally built to stop that, then go ahead, my friend. And although this point guard is playing with the playstyle that I don't necessarily gravitate towards, you have to respect that these guys who know how to dribble really fast, cancel out of moves, and use screens appropriately are very difficult to defend. So it's going to have to take team defense and not just his individual matchup in order to try and stop that. And man, anytime I see you pressing up against me in a full court setting, let me just hit you with a little nice CP3 yo-yo hezzy into that scoop layup, my goodness. And in this clip right here, you're gonna see why this point guard is not only great from a meta perspective, but he also knows about the ethical buckets, that one dribble pull-up. Every time you get a combination of moves using that dribble system and the ethical bucket system, those guys are pretty tricky to defend. But oh my goodness, now that the lock has switched onto me, we got to pay him a little something to make sure that he knows what he's getting into, and we get into that Chef Curry sauce. Yeah, boom. So now things are clicking. We are connecting on the defensive end of the floor, leading to efficient offense. The offense of the opposing team is basically one of those heliocentric type of offenses where the point guard is dominating the shot creation and pass creation opportunities. He misses a bad one, we respond with a transition 3, and things are slowly unraveling for the opposing team. As you can see right here, we're not just an on-ball creator, we also move without the ball. We got fouled right there. Now we're up by 10, and they're doing the same screen, dribble system. The lockdown has been an absolute pest at trying to steal the ball. He's been a great asset to the team, even though offensively, he hasn't been doing too much, but he definitely knows his role, and that's what's important. In random rec, allow your team to settle into certain roles. In certain situations, you're going to have to give up the ball, and that's fine. It's give and take from everyone. Try to communicate, try to see how you can play off of each other, and this is a perfect example of how in random rec you're able to do that. So now that I've established that I'm aggressive on offense and a scoring threat, I'm now looking to get my teammates involved. Nice pick and roll action right there with our small forward flaring out into the corner. Two come to me, and then that's an easy 2 points. Fast break opportunity here. Two defenders go to the man in the paint, leaving the corner open for another wide open 3, and we are in a rhythm. And man, here's the opposing point guard giving our lock the old 1-2 cha-cha-cha into that nice pull-up 3. He's definitely someone to be reckoned with. And as good as you give it on offense, you just shouldn't be able to give it back on defense. Once again, I've now shifted from scoring mode to playmaking mode, and we're keeping our opponent at bay. And here our lock makes a mistake by gambling on defense, putting me in a bad position to cover 2-on-1. And that's just an easy 3 points. And just like that, that 10-point lead is now a 5-point lead because of some bad mistakes on our end. And that's how quickly things turn in rec, man. You cannot afford some of these bad shots, these bad decisions. As you can see right there, that was a bad shot from their point guard, the easy mid-range counterattack. This is how most of rec games unravel. When people take bad shots, or when people create some live ball turnovers that lead to counterattacks and easy 3 points in transition. It only takes 1 or 2 of those quick little runs to get things out of hand. So here our opponents are playing great team defense. We got nothing going. The lock makes a gamble, and we get into that chef sauce for an easy mid-range 2. And this point guard is basically throwing out the entire Jamal Murray kitchen sink. Hezzy launch into Jamal Murray, into a Jamal Murray combo out of a screen, gets them 3 points. And what was once a 10-point lead on the verge of getting out of hand is now just a 2-point lead at halftime. Now our shooting guard took some bad shots at the beginning of the game, so in this situation we want to keep him engaged and let him cook. Now that was an open shot, but for whatever reason he launched very early. I think the angle of the defender was enough to keep him bothered, but this was not a good opening possession for us entering the third quarter. And this will basically lead to the opposing team gaining momentum and quickly gaining the lead right here. Now we turn the ball over and the opposing team gets possession. And if you know anything and how momentum swings work, you want to make sure that you get a good solid defensive possession. We want to be able to stop that run even before it begins, and this is as solid a defensive possession as you will see. My matchup took a bad shot, which means we're going on the counterattack. I thought I was able to stop and pull up, but the center recognized it really well. The good thing is, if the center contests out, what happens is that it's going to be a free board, and that's exactly what happens. Our center got the offensive board, kicked it out, easy 3, and that put us back in the lead. But not for long, because that was over helping, one pass away, man open in the corner, and the lead is basically given back just like that. And now we're getting into that territory with about 8 minutes left in the game, 1-point game. Things are swinging back and forth. We're getting into that part of the game where we find out what is what. So people tend to shy away from these types of moments when things get a little too close. I'm seeing a lot from our shooting guard right there. He wants to take the opportunity to take those big shots. And you know me, I'm going to create for myself to continue to put pressure on the defense. And that was a great read. They were shading me one way. I attacked and used a scoop layup to avoid that center from blocking my shot. And this is why being aggressive early on is paying off for our team. Being as aggressive as I was and scoring as much as I did in the first half of the game took away the best defender from guarding someone who is an offensive threat on our team, and our shooting guard is benefiting from my offensive gravity because I drew the opposing team's best defender. And how do we make sure that the lock stays switched on to me? I have to be aggressive on offense even though my teammates are cooking and have take. As you can see right here, we just take our time, wait for that screen, look at the defensive coverage, and it was basically in drop. Easy mid-range to make sure that we put pressure on the defense and keep them honest. And everything I said in the past few clips right there applies to this point guard right here. He basically knows how to create advantage situations and lead to defenses being over aggressive, leading to that wide open shot for their center. So remember the previous play where it was a pick and roll and the center was in drop. Because I hit a pull-up jumper, he had to switch on to me, leaving that pick and roll option for our big wide open. So from here on out, there will be no cuts. I'll be showing you the entire fourth quarter for those that are interested in raw gameplay. And once again, this right here shows you how good Rec can be as a game mode if everything is evenly matched. More often than not, Rec games, and especially random Rec, devolve into the hammer and nail game mode. It's either you're doing the thumping or you're basically getting washed out of the arena. And in my opinion, it's those types of extremes that make random Rec one of the most unpleasant experiences. Because first of all, if it's a blowout situation, there's a lot of nonsense going on. And man, just take a look at my teammate right here. He absolutely started to cook beginning in the third quarter. I saw him basically establish a rhythm. And even though I was putting up numbers in the first half and in the early part of the third quarter, you know what? If someone has it going, feed them the ball. You don't have to be the guy that's always playing the hero and scoring every possession. And just take a look at this, man. This is tough shot making on both ends of the floor. These are exactly the types of games that are so fun to play. Makes you a little bit nervous. It tests your skill. It dares you to elevate your game to be better. These are exactly the types of games that I want. Now, I know. Tell me, Kev, just go to Pro-Am. Find yourself a good 5-man lineup and compete in Comp Pro-Am or Pro-Am game modes. Man, let me tell you something. I'm 37 years old. I got a wife, I got a job, I got other obligations. Sometimes the only time I have to play within a day is the 1 hour after I get home from work and before my wife gets home. That's 1 hour. I'm not gonna be able to set something up or even keep long hours to play that type of a competitive game mode. So I'm hoping that Random Rec gets improved from a matchmaking experience, make it a little bit more evenly matched. You know, this whole nonsense of people backing out, I understand it because the Random Rec matchmaking doesn't seem to have a very nice tuned logic to make it more competitive and more balanced. In some ways, that's fine, so you get a variety of different types of games, but more often than not, it devolves into the hammer and nail situation where every now and then you want to mix in some of that sweatiness in Random Rec. Now, I'm not saying that every game mode should be sweaty. I'm not saying that every game should be toxic, but there should be at least a level. And it isn't the norm isn't that it's either you're blowing someone out or they're blowing you out. Pause. And here we're basically in clutch time. 64-63, 2.5 minutes left, and it's butt clenching time. You see their lock is trying to be aggressive, create turnovers, create easy offense. That's one way to swing the momentum really well. And this was honestly terrible offense just because things are getting a little bit tight. See, when things are a little bit tight, people don't tend to make the best decisions. Our lock held onto the ball a little bit too long, giving me very little time to attack. Their point guard recognized the situation and helped at the right time, not giving me an opportunity to pull up, and they create the turnover as a result. And for the opposing team, it's basically going to their bread and butter, which is the screen and dribble offense. Our center has been really good in terms of presenting himself in a help situation. This should be an easy 3, but unfortunately, we do not make it. Our center has been so clutch on the offensive end of the rebounding situation. And bam, that was a huge shot from our shooting guard, putting us up by 4 under 2 minutes left. Here I don't overreact. I basically defend the 3-point line and give up that open 2. Sometimes you're just gonna have to give up certain things to put yourself in a better position to win. And man, what did I say earlier on about letting others cook? If a man has it going, you feed the hot hand. As a result, they collapse on a double team right there, giving up a wide open 3, and our lock redeemed himself right there by hitting that 3, putting us up by 5 with 1.5 minutes to go. And that right there is connected transition defense, making sure that everyone is at the right spot, and we get the charge call right here. Great back-to-back plays from our lock. This is everyone settling into their roles and making sure that we put ourselves in a position to win. So right now, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great about our chances of winning. And this right here is why I wanted to show things uncut. I was calling for the guy to curl around me, to basically wrap around me, and I would give him a handoff. I was holding circle. Now, unfortunately, he faked me out with his curl, and I released circle at the wrong time, leading to a bounce pass into a turnover, basically giving the opposing team an opportunity to come back. So that was a boneheaded play by me. So what I do is basically just give the ball back to our guy who's cooking, give him the opportunity to close this out because he has been performing really well. His defender leaps out of the building, putting himself out of position and giving our guy an open 3, which basically seals the deal. My guys, that's why on defense, you do not want to overreact. You do not want to gamble, and you do not want to put yourself in a position where you are taking yourself out of a play. And from here, it's basically elementary. They start the foul game. I hit free throws to seal the deal. Get my total up to 28 points, 5 assists, just 2 turnovers. And this is an example of how Random Rec can be a great experience for casual players. If you match everyone up evenly, you will get a great gameplay experience. That's fun for me, that's fun for everybody. It's competitive, it's balanced, it's nice and smooth, and really an enjoyable experience. So I hope this is an aspect of 2K that gets improved later on.